Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Lambert Podcast. I'm your host, Sister Darnisha C. Pickett. I currently serve as the Honor Grand Associate Conductors of Excelsior Grand Chapter, Order of the Eastern Star, Tennessee Jurisdiction, Prince Hall affiliated, where Sister Robbie R. Pillow serves as our Grand Worthy Matron, and Brother Willie Jackson serves as our Grand Worthy Patron. Today, I have the honor and pleasure of having two guests. It's the first time I've actually had two guests on the podcast. So welcome. Sister Shanna Garrison, past Grand Worthy Matron. Sister Garrison is the past Grand Worthy Matron. She served from 2019 to 2021. She's the past matron of Redeemerette chapter number 54. She served as the grand inner gatekeeper of the most ancient Prince Hall Grand Court, currently serving, past most ancient matron of Pride of Michigan Court number 4, past Royal Perfect matron of Malachi Court number 1, State Grand Loyal Lady Guide, Michigan Grand Assembly, currently serving, past Loyal Lady Ruler of Charity Assembly number 38. For the daughters, she serves as the Imperial Deputy for the OES of Detroit, Class Advisor to the Chief Ray Bands and First Lieutenant Commandresses. Whoop, whoop, shout out to Dynasty. Past Illustrious Commanders of Meraki Court, number 32. Professionally, she's the Senior HR Business Partner of Henry Ford Health Systems, serving from August 2005 to present. She has a bachelor's degree in mathematics. Civic and community organizations, she's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. She's a member of NCNW, National Council of Negro Women, and NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. I also have Brother Kevin D. Leapheart, past Grand Worthy Patron. Brother Leapheart currently serves as Right Worshipful Junior Grand Warden of the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Michigan, past Master of Acacia Lodge number 39, the Treasurer for Acacia Lodge number 39, past Grand Worthy Patron serving from 2019 to 2021. He's also served as the past patron of Acacia Chapter number 48, past Commander-in-Chief from Wolverine Consistory number 6, past Illustrious Potentate, Meraki Temple number 13, the past Imperial Deputy of the Oasis of Detroit, Desert Treasurer for the Desert of Michigan Conference, currently serving, and a Desert Recorder of Desert of Temples, currently serving. Good morning. How are you all doing today?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you all on. Distinct, very lengthy bios. I'm pretty sure that you all didn't include everything that you're a part of and everything that you do, but that gives the viewers and listeners a little bit of insight on what you all are a part of. So just to get the conversation started, I'd like to ask you all to kind of go into detail about your journeys into the organization itself. We'll start with Brother Leapheart.
Well, mine was kind of interesting. Actually, I was recommended to the order by a brother who I later suspended when I became worship master for non-payment of dues. But that's another story. But I got recommended by a brother. You see things as a child, and one thing that I seen was, I think I was watching like what was the movie that was down in Florida?
Rosewood.
Rosewood, that's it. And I actually seen that Masonic sign on the building. If you look at the first part of the movie, there's a sign on there. It's actually a Prince Hall Lodge, to be exact. And that kind of really sparked my interest. And it shows some of the things in there. That kind of sparked my interest after a while. Coming through school, you meet different teachers who are Masons, good men. And of course, you don't know it until after the fact. But you end up meeting these guys and they become big influences in your life. And then when you turn into masonry, you actually meet these brothers from another side. So then you kind of realize where your connection came from. So that was probably my start of coming into masonry, but been a journey.
Right, right. We'll have to hear about that story a little bit later about the suspension. That sounds interesting. Um, Sister Garrison, can you tell us a little bit about your journey into the order, how you were introduced?
Well, my father is a master mason out of Geometry Lodge number 49 in Detroit, and I have a few other family members that are part of the Masonic order. So I just wanted to join to learn about the organization, what it brings, and about charity.
All right, awesome, awesome. So, um, Sister Garrison, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about, some of the things that you have implemented and the initiatives that you all have implemented during you all's tenure. And one of the things that I noticed was the OES University. What motivated you to establish a OES University, and what benefits do you see coming out of that initiative?
Well, we named the OES University the Betty M. Meredith Learning Institute, AKA the OES University. And it was named after one of our wonderful, great, and progressive past grant-worthy matrons, Betty M. Meredith. And we just wanted to have kind of like a centered place where members, sisters and brothers can go and get learning and teaching. So that's why we came up with the university. And then we also had inside of the university, we had a leadership fellows program, kind of like they have at different organizations and jobs where they have like a fellowship program. So we did it for leaders inside of the OES University. And we talked about parliamentary procedure. It was just a lot of things that, that leadership fellows program did, but we were grateful that members did participate. They were open to it. And I know that Betty and Meredith is proud of us for the work that we've done. So.
That's awesome. And you mentioned it just a little bit, but could you kind of go into the uses and benefits of the fellows program?
So it basically is to help leaders, if you're interested in being a leader, whether it's in an organization or not, whether it's in your chapter, your lodge, or outside of the organization. We feel, Kevin and I always felt that being a leader requires more than just standing at the front of the line. It's more than that, than being a leader. So you got to understand the inner workings of your chapter. So that's why we came up with it, and we were providing those tools and resources. So if you decided to become a leader, you got in line, or you were just interested, maybe years down the line, you could have the tools to be successful if you ever decided to be a leader.
Awesome. One of the things that we did not mention at the beginning of this episode, and I'd like to kind of backtrack and mention it now. Let's talk a little bit about you all's age and how that played a factor in your tenure. If you all would like to share your age, how unusual is it for individuals your age to serve as grant-worthy matron and grant-worthy patron?
Kev, I'll let you go first. You older than me. I'll let my seniors go first.
I yield to my seniors. That's one of those deals. It's actually funny. So we are probably the youngest grand matron and patron in Michigan jurisdiction history. I am 44 now, so I was 41, 42 when I went in. To be honest, our jurisdiction actually accepted it very well. They rallied behind us. They were ready for that young form. They were ready for that change of the guard. I think the biggest surprise we got is when we went to Maryland, and we get up to Maryland and they say, well, we want to introduce the grand-worthy matron and the grand-worthy patron. And I stood up and I went to introduce Shanna, and everybody in the room looking like, those are babies. So it was kind of shocking to the other jurisdiction, but our jurisdiction actually took well to it. Me and Shanna have been working since day one. We were actually different chapters, but we were actually matrons and patrons at the same time in chapters, caused havoc then, and then now we let it actually worked out pretty good for us. So I was happy with it.
So you all are not new to working together?
No.
Okay.
No. Shanna's actually, so it goes further than order. It's almost like, it's kind of family. Shanna comes around when, during holidays, her and my aunt are good friends and have been for years. So Shanna comes around, so it's not just a strictly business relationship, it's actually family. I'll actually tell you one of the stories when she got kicked out the house one time.
Yes, love to hear it.
Yeah. No problem. It's on you, Shanna, go ahead.
Okay, anyway. Yes, like Kev said, I'm an honorary member of the Jackson family, his family. I was 41 when I went in the seat, so I'm 43 now. Like I said, they opened and embraced us, and I think it's because both of our works prior to getting in the seat spoke for us. You know, we were hard workers in our chapters, in our courts and temples. So, you know, they saw our work already that we were doing. And I think that, you know, helped. And like I said, the old and the young embraced us. So we was ready to come in. I remember when we got elected, we was like, okay, we're gonna go to Imperial Session in Baltimore. We gonna party. And then when we came back, we hit the ground running.
That's awesome. So for Brother Leapheart, you know, brothers come into the order, but you served as Grand Worthy Patron. Tell us a little bit about how Michigan operates in regards to, were you appointed, elected? How does that process work for your jurisdiction?
It's actually an elected office here. So that's elected by the membership. So most jurisdictions a lot of jurisdictions you find is appointed by the Grand Master as such, but it's actually an elected position. So I was chosen by the body, nominated by the body, and we worked for the body.
Okay, great. And were there any special initiatives that you were responsible for as the Grand Worthy Patron, separately from the ritualistic duties, of course?
So me and Shanna decided that one thing that we were going to do, we were going to stay in our lane. If one crossed over, we made sure, hey, that's not your lane, you get back in yours. I think one of the biggest things that we had to do here was set a standard ritualistic form. There's always a standard, but it's kind of never been adopted by Michigan. So I think with the lecture department, the grand lecturer at that time, and her team, we kind of established a ritualistic format so that we could follow that and the membership can follow that. That way we're not all across the board, we're all learning the same thing. And the new administration has definitely embraced that, and they're often running with the same kind of format with a little twist to their own.
Yep, and then also our Grand Worthy Patron is in charge of the law. So like if I had questions, I would go to the Grand Worthy Patron when it was dealing with the law. And he also did a great thing too. He did Brothers in the Fold. So during one of our administrative conference, the Grand Worthy Patron talked to the brothers and, you know, just talked to them how they fit in and how they're important inside of the Order of the Eastern Star. So that was good too. I mean, Kevin and I work real well together because, you know, when I was like in the line as conductors, I was like, you know, Kev, I want you to sit with me. And so, you know, his experience as a past master and everything was very helpful to me. And so we went for it.
Nice, awesome. So Sister Garrison, back a little bit to some of the initiatives and formations that happened. One of those things was the Phyllis Auxiliary, right? Would you like to talk a little bit about that and what prompted your interest in the Phyllis?
So I think the brothers, did they reactivate? I think they reactivated.
So the the Great Lakes the Great Lakes chapter of Philaxis Society was one of the premier Philaxis Society chapters in the nation, and they went dormant probably about 10, 15 years ago. They just reestablished it probably 5 years ago. Actually, we still have one of the charter members in Edward B. Darnell. So we're back, and now here we go with the Phyllis Society.
Yeah, so we started because of that. We was like, okay, let's start one for the Phyllis Society, which is the Great Lakes Auxiliary. And so, you know, we were chartered last year. A lot of members stepped up, helped to make it possible. And, you know, they're doing great things. They are doing wonderful things. And I'm excited to be a member as well.
Awesome, awesome. So just switching gears just a little bit, we know that we are still in a pandemic. And one of the things that I found interesting about you all's tenure is the amount of growth that you all had during this time, which was very fascinating. I'd like to ask you all to talk about that. What was kind of the mindset going into the pandemic, and how did you switch gears when the pandemic took place? You can correct me if these numbers are off, but it looks like you all increased membership by 891 members. The youth organization increased by 81 members, and the youth advisors increased by 44. So let's just talk a little bit about that for a minute.
So our current membership is 891, I believe. So I think we increased it by maybe like 120 members. So what I can tell you is that it was funny because Kevin and I, we were in the office and we were talking about, you know, just feedback. I remember this was like back in maybe December. And we were talking about, you know, feedback that we were getting from members, you know, because we did a 30, 60 and a 90-day chat with the grant. So we was, you know, a lot of people was like, well, you know, y'all moving a little too fast, you know, y'all on the move. So we was like, okay. So then what happened in March 2020? The pandemic hit. So we went in August 2019. So the pandemic hit March 2020. So we was already ahead of ourselves in a lot of things that we had started doing because we hit the ground running. So it really didn't slow us up. It was just like we had to pivot. So it was like, okay, we need to start doing stuff like this. A lot of stuff we can't do in, you know, person no more. But we did, the first thing we did was like the first 2 months, we checked on our members and our family members, because I think that was what was important. You know, unfortunately, we had a lot of members pass in Michigan from COVID. A lot of our family and friends that we know passed away. So, you know, the first thing was check on your family members. And then from there, we was like, okay, we need to still find a way to keep these members engaged. And so we reached out to our Grand Master at the time, which is past Grand Master Kevin Bell, and asked him if we could have meetings virtually. And he put it in place for the lodges and the chapters. And so that kept the chapters, you know, busy and doing stuff. I mean, we had a great time. I mean, you know, despite the pandemic, you know, crisis doesn't build character, it reveals it. So, you know, we had people stepping up to do stuff with us, and it was good. You know, we turned a negative into a positive. Would you say that, Kevin?
And also, we, Shanna and I always let our members know we have faith in you. We have faith in you. If there's something that we don't like, we definitely going to tell you. You might not like the way we tell you, but we're going to tell you. I'm one of those believers. Don't ask me a question if you really don't want to know the answer, because we're not going to be your yes man. And what we didn't want was, yes, bro, yes, Grandworthy matron, Grandworthy patron, that's a great job. And then next thing you know, you hear, you know what? Nah, that ain't going to work. So when that pandemic hit, our team decided we're going to think outside the box. How can we keep our members engaged? How can we keep our gaining membership and things like that? So we had a couple small virtual events. I think one of the major virtual events was one of our major functions that we have is what we call chocolate after dark.
Yes.
It's party that talked about across the jurisdiction. And we had to cancel that right into our pandemic. We had to cancel that. So what did we do? Our grandworthy matron, who was then grand associate matron, said, well, let's think outside the box. Let's have we had a raffle, not a raffle, a auction. So we had the virtual chocolate after dark, and then during the chocolate after dark, it was a raffle. We raffled just to raise money for our Ways and Means committees. And on that raffle, it got a little intense. There was it's just funny because there was a couple prizes. One was a catering set up for you and like 5 of your friends. One was they got a lady we got here called a mixologist. She comes and mixes the drinks up for you. And then it was a cake lady. So those were kind of the some of the premier things that they had on at a raffle. And also there was a raffle we had for a Airbnb in Florida. All the membership got on, and then they invited family and friends. So we got a Zoom call about 200, 250 people. And now they're bidding money on this thing. I think we raised probably about a little more than like $1,500 just on that call. We made it where if they registered, the grand associate matron sent sent Shanna and I a little personal gift and all that. So it was nice. And I think that's when people got on there and they seen what was going on, it intrigued them. So then our next term was, well, how do we get them to how do we get them initiated without sharing our secrets of the order? Well, our team stepped up. And when I say they stepped up, they stepped up, really stepped up. And we were able to do a OES degree and a Queen of the South, not to explain the secrets of the order, but to explain the lesson. And that really kept them intrigued. And after that, next thing you know, we got another class, and the objective was only to do it once. That's what we said. We're only going to do this one time, and we're gonna move it on. Well, it couldn't happen. We had to do it a second time to bring in more membership. So, and the jurisdiction just took to it. We had, I think on the first call, it was over 300. It
was like 400 people, and we had like 25.
Seven different jurisdictions.
Mm-hmm.
As far as Hawaii, as close as Ohio. So.
Awesome. Sister Garrison, would you have anything to add about the virtual experiences? Would you say that you all kind of embrace technology, specifically Zoom? Because Zoom has a lot of features that a lot of people don't know about. Room breakouts, I mean, all type of stuff. So would you all say that you definitely dived in and started embracing technology?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would say we did, because we got a tech team. Our chairperson is past patron Melvin Thomas. And we really relied on our tech team like never before. So even when we started having meetings via Zoom, we had like training sessions for the membership to come out along with the Grand Lodge tech team to learn how to use Zoom, how to log in, how to register. We did that. And then we also met with the worthy matrons and worthy patrons to prepare them for their virtual meetings that they would be having, because this will be the first time. So we kind of went over like, do's and don'ts and things like that. So, I mean, we got members that's 95, 96 with a Zoom account, I mean, it's like they want to see their grandkids, they had to get some type of virtual platform. So I think this helped them transition. But I'm gonna also tell you, with us meeting virtually, membership, the participation at the meetings have increased. So it's like it's double. So maybe you might have had maybe 15 or 20 people coming to chapter meeting, if that. Now you got like 45, 50 people on your virtual call. So it's been beneficial across the board. And like I said, at first, some people was kind of hesitant, but then once they, give it a try. And so once people started giving it a try, it was like, this is what we need to do. And I mean, Kevin and I, you do good, you do bad. Somebody gonna always have something to say. So, when we first thought about it, even when we rolled out the degree, people was like, I don't know. I was like, well, just this what we doing, and just give us a chance. So, and it was successful because, our bloodline is open right now. So that's why we're bringing in all of these members, and it's been a blessing to the jurisdiction of Michigan.
And of course, you get feedback, and sometimes we had to say, you know what, this is what we're doing, and we'll take the hit after that. That's just what's going to happen. And once
it duly noted.
Hmm?
Duly noted. See, I talked to Kevin. Kevin had to be to work like when the chickens and cows and stuff get up. So while I'm driving to work later on that day, because he already up and going, that's when we kind of would talk about stuff. Like I call him and we would talk about, basically, I think we talked like every day, and we would just talk about things that was happening, things that was going on. So, we'd be on the same page. And that's one thing I would say, you and your grant-worthy patron got to be on the same page. Y'all are united front. So, and that's one thing that we did. We always discuss stuff, and then we went with it.
Right. Awesome. So in 2019, you all visited the Grand Chapter of Michigan annual session. Can you talk about that and what kind of led up to that experience?
So what I could tell you is our Grand Lodge has a relationship with the Grand Lodge of Michigan. Is that correct, Kevin?
That is correct.
Yep. So when I got in the office, I reached out to our Grand Master at the time and said, hey, I want to build a relationship with the Grand Chapter of Michigan. And so he reached out to their Grand Master, and like within an hour, I had her phone number and email address of their worthy Grand Matron at the time. And so I called her and we talked. And, even though she's much, much older than me, we had one connection. We both went to Michigan State, and that brought us together. And so she invited us to their grand session in October. So we got a bus, we got like 2 15-passenger vans, a couple of other people drove, and we went to their session. And we stayed for their opening and fraternal greetings. And we were welcomed with a lot of love. And they were very hospitable. And so actually from that, a few of our chapters visited their chapters for their like initiation night. And then I think our youth, shout out to our youth group, which is wonderful. We have a great grand youth and 5 grand youth fraternities. They have built a bond with them as well. I think it's the Rainbow Girls, I think it is. So, they've had a relationship with them. So, of course, during COVID, we can't do a lot of things together, but I did reach out to them and say, hey, how is your members going? Unfortunately, they did lose a lot of members. But I kept in touch with them just to see how they were doing. And they actually came to our Esther Day observance program that we do in June. So I know now they have a new worthy grand matron and a new worthy grand patron, but I still keep in touch with their past.
Right. So it seems like this is a relationship that it's building, and
correct,
will probably continue throughout the years.
Absolutely.
So first off, I would like to say, I've paid a lot of attention on Facebook. You all's Facebook page for the Grand Chapter is very active. So I would go on there and see, and I would enjoy seeing what you all were going to do next. And it seems as though you all thought about the legacy of the Grand Chapter of Michigan, which I found very fascinating as well. I'd like to ask you both maybe the hardest question that I've asked, lastly. Brother Leapheart, how would you explain your time in service with past Grand Worthy Matron Garrison? And Sister Garrison,
this is being recorded. This is being recorded. Your views are important.
Oh, okay. Since you're gonna put it that way, then.
What they say when it's a paid paid commercial, your views.
There you go. You know, we, like I said, our relationship was beyond sister and brother in the order. We've had, you know, personal time with each other, far as the families and holidays, and it you know, continuously, and that was over the years. When I was a worthy patron and she was worthy matron, we would get our chapters together for hours before grand session, and we would actually go over the work and the books of what's going on at grand chapter, which you should do anyway. But then we would all do it together. Of course, we would be having fun while we do it. But when we get in the meeting, it was like a united front with her chapter, my chapters, and other chapters and all that. So when the business came down, we were ready for it. And we probably are the reason why our grand chapter room was separated. They used to take all the vote members and put them on one side of the room, non-voting members, and put them on the other side of the room, because we knew about our business. So it was a learning experience for both of us. So when the question came in Michigan, you kind of prep yourself, the women kind of prep themselves going through the line on who really they want to sit with, and how do you think he's going to help your administration out. And when it came down, it was like a no-brainer. Well, me and Shanna gonna go together. I had gotten plenty of offers, say, hey, I want you to run with me. Nope, I'll wait. Well, Shanna's in the back of the line. You can go now. I said, I'll wait. I'm fine. I'm fine with that. So we already had that a relationship as friends and as sisters and brothers. So we didn't have we really didn't have a problem with each other. Like I said, it was only one or two maybe issues that really came up. And it was like towards the end of the tenure, and I had to tell Shanna, why are you even worried about it? We're out. Leave it alone. Let it go. And of course, you know, Shanna being like Shanna, she gave me
How was I?
Huh?
How was I?
Yeah. So, but it was absolutely a joy working with her. Honestly, it really was, because we were both open to new developments, new situations. We weren't closed-minded on shutting the jurisdiction down. We kept iterating to the membership again. Hey, you guys are the most important to us. We cannot do nothing with you. And that was a united front. It wasn't, well, he's going to say it, he's going to say it. No, you already know. It's going to come from both of us. That way, you know. We made sure we sent personal cards to members who were sick. We were united front with that. We even sent cards across the jurisdiction, across the Midwest during the holiday season. So we were on the same page. It was absolutely a joy for me. I don't know about her, but you know.
It was, Kev. Don't like Kev said, we like family. Like his aunt is one of my good friends. So, you know, I would get together with them on the holidays and, you know, go over their house for Christmas, Thanksgiving. And when I'm not there, they're like, where's Shanna at? And eat a few cupcakes. But, you know, it's a joke. But, you know, it was good. You gotta, like I said, I asked Kev, I was like, Kevin, can you sit with me? And he was like, absolutely. You didn't have to ask twice, you know? And so, you know, our whole thing was, if I move, you move, just like that. And so everything that we did, it was together, you know? And we just, you know, like I said, everything I ran by him, he ran by me. We was all on the same page. Because, you know, sometimes people will try to pay mom and dad. So, you know, you got to be on one page with each other, and that's what we did. And we had a great tenure. We had a really, really great tenure. And I know that as he continues his Masonic pursuits, he has my support as well. I can't wait.
I can. I can.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you all so much. And again, thank you all so much for coming by and sitting and speaking on the Lambert podcast. I really appreciate it. We can move to closing remarks. We'll start with Sister Garrison.
So thank you, first off, Sister Pickett, also a member of the Dynasty class where I'm the advisor. And I just want to say thank you for featuring us. I want to give a shout out, first off, to the Michigan jurisdiction. Thank you. Thank you for the support that you gave Kevin and I, and thank you for the continued support that you are giving our current grant-worthy matron, who is Kiona N. Cowan, and
What does that
our
stand for?
current, what you say?
What does the N stand for?
Something she said, but I don't want to get suspended if I say it, so I'm not gonna say it.
We'll tell her Daquan to say it.
Right. And our grant-worthy patron is Brian L. Johnson. So they have a lot of things that's coming up too. It's like you pass the torch. You know, you can't get everything done during your administration. So what you do is you get a good line. And so a lot of things that we didn't finish, they've definitely taken that torch and they're continue to run. And so some of the things they got coming up is, for the month of March, is Literacy Month. And so it's story time with the stars. So they're asking, you know, the worthy matrons, worthy patrons, and the members to, you know, record a story, you know, reading a book. So that's exciting, and that's definitely different. And then February 19th at 12 o'clock, we have our annual Black History program. And I think the theme this year is A Woman Can't Keep a Secret. So that'll be very, very interesting. So, you know, shout out to our new well, they've been in there since August, but shout out to them for doing the wonderful things, and also for the Grand Chapter and our members for continuing to work hard and move this jurisdiction. So I'm excited. It feels good to be out. It's like your phone stopped ringing that next day, didn't it, Kevin? Like the minute you got out, it was like my phone did not ring.
Well, it didn't help that you made sure you changed all the email passcodes.
I did. I changed their email over to them. We was ready to go. I had the briefcase the day of. I gave the briefcase to the Great Associate Patron. I was like, here go the charter, here go everything. She was like, you sure y'all don't want to sit? We good. We got other stuff to do. You know, you just get your life back a little bit. But it was worth it. It was worth 2 years. Even before that. I mean, we did 2 years in the East, but think about all the years before that. You helped prep. And then, you know, with Kevin being in the Grand Lodge line too, so it was like he was doing double, you know, so. But that's all that I have to say. And thank you once again for featuring us.
Thank you. Brother Leapheart?
Again, I want to thank you for inviting us on. I know this has been time coming, kind of whatever happened pushed us back or whatever, but I really appreciate you taking the time out to interview us, and we know that the nation is watching us. So we really appreciate that. We've gotten a lot of positive support from other jurisdictions. Hey, you guys are doing an excellent job, and we really do appreciate that. We really appreciate our membership, the help of Most Worshipful Grand Lodge at that time. Kevin, past Grandmaster Kevin Bell was the Most Worshipful Grandmaster, and you're still getting the same support from the Most Worshipful Grandmaster now, Roger D. Anderson. And the jurisdiction is moving. The pandemic stopped a lot of things, but I can say it did not stop Michigan. It put us on another plateau. It made us think outside the box. Some of the degree work that we were doing, foreign jurisdictions called us, hey, can we get that work? And when I got those calls, I think the first call I got was at work, and from one of the now past grant-worthy patrons of another jurisdiction. He's like, hey, do you mind if I still the whole degree? Because everything was we had to pre-tape it beforehand. So he was like, can I get it? Yeah, let me talk to the grant-worthy matron. And she was in no way saying no. She's like, definitely, you know, just tell them to change a couple of things. Of course, take the Michigan name out of some of the stuff that was there. But we really do appreciate the state of Michigan, the support we have gotten as a grant-worthy patron, the support I'm getting as I ascend in my tenure towards the Grand East and on the brother side. Of course, working with a great team over there too. You definitely have to give it up to them. Grandmaster and his team, and having me part of that team is really something. So I think we're just glad to join the class of the past Grand East.
Yes.
Now we get, at first we were on the floor causing havoc. Now we get to sit right next to them and be.
Yes.
But again, thank you for inviting us. Like I said, the Michigan jurisdiction is going crazy over this, knowing that this is happening, and they're really looking forward to seeing it. So.
Thank you all so much. And thank you again for taking time out of your day to come on to the Lambert podcast, to the viewing and listening audience. Thank you so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.